Welcome back. You're with The Nation, and my guest now, blogger Martyn "Bomber" Bradbury from the Daily Blog and right-wing commentator Jordan Williams. Gentlemen, good morning to you. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
David Shearer, I'm going to start with you if I can. Jordan, is he in control of this Labor Party or not?
Oh, without a doubt, David Shearer has lost control of the Labor Party. But the real question here is, why has it taken so long for David to pull back from this policy, to say that he doesn't agree with it? He sits on the Policy Council that voted to bring this policy to the national conference in November. So the real question is, one, has he backflipped? Did he initially support this this policy that most New Zealanders disagree with? Or alternatively, has he been overruled by his own party and has he lost control?
I mean, Bomber, those are very good points. You put that to Sue Moroney a little bit earlier as well. I mean, this is not something that's come out of the blue. This has been discussed behind closed doors for months.
It's been in front of the caucus for a very, very long period of time. I've got a lot of text messages from Labor Party supporters who are furious that this has suddenly become an issue, that it's, you know, the idea that it's popped out of nowhere. The Labor Party, the modern Labor Party, is a progressive party. It understands that there are hegemonic structures that keep people out of the power loop, and they want to be proactive in changing that. I don't think this is really the big issue that Jordan would like to paint it out to be.
Well,
I think there are many more issues.
It's completely dominated mainstream media for 2 days when they had the Prime Minister on the ropes.
I know, and I think that that's probably more to do with the mainstream media. It's something pops up on whale oil and suddenly everybody jumps on it.
But this is the voters' reality at the end of this week.
Well, that is the voters' reality at the end of the day this week, because that's what the media have decided to focus on. I think there are bigger issues. Look, the Labor Party, and what's really going on here is that the supporters are actually a lot more left-wing than the leadership want to be.
Absolutely right.
A lot more left-wing.
Do you think Shearer's lost control of this party?
Oh, I think the issue is political management. He has been politically mismanaged since day one. Just a couple of recent examples. The Ikaroa Rafferty by-election press release, who proofed that? Who allowed him to say terrorise?
Terrorise.
Who? And in terms of the Sky City deal, I mean, here you had Labor righteously pointing out what a shabby deal that was, where you got the Prime Minister of New Zealand almost pimping for a casino.
Well, they're eating the blue cheese.
And yet they go along. Who advised them to go to the Sky City corporate box, for crying out loud?
Out of control is what you're saying. They have no leadership.
It's political management. He is being terribly managed.
No, but it's also about leadership, though, isn't it, Jordan? Isn't this about leadership, who controls the party, who's actually been listened to? Yes, you can have all the management that you like. You still have a strong leader.
The irony is that Shearer can probably connect to the traditional Labor Party blue-collar working base, hard-working New Zealanders and the struggling families in South Auckland and the like better than anyone else. But he's being dominated by this sort of university common room type policy arguments that most New Zealanders don't care about.
But in my time, when I was political editor of 3 News and also as a political reporter in the gallery, when we turned up at those conferences, Helen Clark would never allow a remit to get some kind of oxygen like that on the floor. Everything would be sorted out weeks and months in advance. She wouldn't get that.
Yep, and this comes back to the political management, and it also comes back to Shearer's leadership. Look, we know he is the leader, not because he's the best candidate, but because the old faction of the Labor Party cut a deal with the Grant Robertson's faction.
This is about control of the party, in my view.
And that's why.
This is about the fight for control of the Labor Party in 2013.
Exactly.
Jordan?
Absolutely. No, without a doubt. And I've had a number of people... I have a former Labor Party cabinet minister text me the other day and just comment that in my day this just would not have happened. Under Norman Kirk, things were just ruled out. And he clearly just does not have the ability to do that. He knows it's silly.
And that's because the supporters want real change. They want a democratic Labor Party. We saw that in the conference. We saw that in the conference last time.
But they've taken them into the 20s with this sort of policy, weren't they, in 2013?
Well, it depends. I mean, if it wasn't just about women. It was also about
Waitaki men. They are laughing at this stuff.
But they're not voting Labor at the moment anyway, are they?
They're certainly not going to be with this sort of policy.
They're part of the 800,000, or they're voting John Key. They're voting John Key.
Labor's challenge is to get that centre back.
I disagree. I think that where Labor has to go is they've got to appeal to the 800,000 voters who didn't vote in the last election, making it the lowest voter turnout in the century.
Doing it by this,
they've got to appeal to, with vision, those people who weren't voting. And in terms of the diversity they want to show, I think it's a move.
Jordan?
Look, the trouble is that many in the current Labor Party caucus and party despise of the very values of the hard-working blue-collar New Zealanders that have have traditionally voted Labour, and they're not talking to them. And time again during this parliamentary term, the Labour Party bring up these issues that aren't relevant to the very people that they need to support.
And we talk about this. I mean, they had Key on the hook.
They did have
This weekend should have been Kim.com, it should have been whether the Prime Minister's telling the truth. Instead, all over the papers, it's man ban.
I was asking, and I asked them both this earlier, Sue and Chris Trotter, do you think Shearer can last this 2 months? This story that Patrick Gower ran on 3 News in the past few days, that Shearer has basically 2 months to survive.
Yeah. Well, I think the Grant Robertson faction are realising that they are going to be blamed for enabling Shearer to stay in power if it falls over, and that they're going to get punished with it as well. And I think what just happened in Australia with the Labor Party there. Suddenly,
can't compare though, can you?
Well, with a leader who isn't particularly popular, and you've seen it with interviews with Shearer. Because he doesn't have the institutionalised knowledge of Labor Party policy, he questions
basic knowledge. I'm sorry, Bob, he doesn't have not institutional knowledge, basic policy detail and knowledge.
That's right. And so when you ask him a question, he's got that slightly confused look on his face, and the punters are watching at home, going, "Well, if you don't believe it, why am I going to vote for it?"
It's called they're unconvinced. Yeah. They don't believe him.
Yeah. Well, the sources in caucus that are planting the story about 60 days or 90 days to go, what's interesting about that is that they are the members of caucus that have traditionally been very close to the unions. So it suggests that there's been quite a shift in that in who the unions are supporting, and of course with the leadership vote being now up to the membership of the unions, as well as the caucus.
Isn't kind of quiet at the moment?
Very quiet.
Well, he's got a difficult position because he's aligned himself up with the left-wing members of the party, and they're the ones supporting this man-ban policy.
We need to get out of him this weekend how he would vote on that proposal.
He'll be very quiet.
That proposal dead in the water?
Oh, absolutely.
I think the desire to have more diverse. I think the desire to have a more diverse candidate list is a popular thing, and it's just been built up and blown up into this man-ban.
This isn't the way to do it.
All right, gents, I certainly appreciate your time. Thank you, Bomber Bradbury, and of course Jordan Williams.